bright night sun shining a light on this stolen pickup truck. It's a red stolen truck. Not sure where it was stolen from, what other crimes may be associated here, but believed to be a female driver who once again is desperate enough to use that shoulder if she sees an opportunity. If she has any kind of traffic whatsoever, she gets right over to the shoulder and is showing limited competence behind the wheel here, but still managing to keep up her speed. That's right. There's no word on whether there's anybody else inside that truck, but it does sound like California Highway Patrol is now going to take over this pursuit. So we should see CHP units pull into position behind her here any minute. It may take a couple minutes to get out here, but it's still, she's getting much closer to the 210 here, so we'll see what happens. Yep. Copy. Westbound 210. So we're back over the 210 freeway. If you're joining us live on abc7.com and our 24/7 streaming channels, Chris Christie up in Air 7 HD as we continue our coverage of this GTA suspect who was refusing to pull over. LAPD chasing the suspect out of the city into LA County's jurisdiction. The sheriff's helicopter overhead here as California Highway Patrol now attempts to get onto the 210 freeway here and try and pull her over. She's now transitioned onto the westbound 210 freeway, heading back towards Pasadena, back towards the metro area where traffic is going to bunch up on her the further west she gets. Now, right now, the eastbound or the westbound side is actually the faster side of the 210 freeway. The eastbound side is all jammed up with folks trying to get home on a Thursday night. Westbound traffic is a little bit better, but again, that's going to change once she gets closer to the 710 here. So that red stolen pickup truck with a female driver behind the wheel, unclear whether anybody else is inside the truck with her, but she is continuing to drive very aggressively now over the Gore Point at an exit here. This is going to be Central Avenue. She's getting off of the 210 freeway, and this will put her potentially onto Central. Westbound off of the 210 freeway, now on Central Avenue, paralleling the freeway here with, she had the green light there, but didn't even bother to slow down, picked up a little air, a little dip in the road there, and now you can see she is coming up on some more intersections here. So we'll see if she shows any attempt whatsoever at slowing down for these, or if she starts blowing through red lights. That is going to attract the attention of law enforcement much faster. This is Shamrock Avenue as she pauses there slightly to make a left turn. A left turn now under the 210 freeway, southbound on Shamrock Avenue. Under the 210, she's going to dump the vehicle. She's going to dump the vehicle under the 210. She's under the freeway. Under the freeway, and the vehicle, is that it? That's not it. That's not it. Okay. Yep. One of the oldest tricks in the book, Colleen, pulled up under the freeway. Now you see her peeking out the other side of the freeway at a snail's pace, and she did not dump the vehicle. She's still in the vehicle, deciding it looks like that she wants to get back on the freeway. This time, she's potentially going to get back onto the eastbound side of the 210 freeway. Colleen, I thought almost for sure she was going to dump the vehicle. You know how often we see that happen. No, we haven't seen any flashing lights in quite a while. Again, LAPD did have a couple of units dedicated to this pursuit when we first picked it up off the top, but they have since pulled back completely. LA County Sheriff doing a bulk of the work here until CHP can get into position. They are tracking this from above. They are probably, almost guaranteed, watching our stream right now, and so they are attempting to get into position here any minute. I think we will start to see some CHP units eventually. It's just a matter of those guys working their way through traffic as well. Coming up on the entrance ramp there, now getting back on to the 210 freeway, and this will put her onto the eastbound side, Colleen. It wasn't serious enough for LAPD to continue it out of their jurisdiction, but still, we'll see. Here comes that CHP unit. Here comes that CHP unit, the first primary unit to join the pursuit here since we have hit the bottom of the hour here, and now she'll have a little bit of pressure coming up from her rear left flank. There is California Highway Patrol with the lights and sirens on, code 3, back in pursuit mode as that unit, ooh, look at that, they've turned the lights off. They've turned the lights off, so this is not a pursuit technically, but they are now following the suspect with the lights and sirens off. No longer code 3, this is now firmly in tracking mode, but they're going to continue to track as to not agitate her further. I think the driving was slowing down to a comfortable speed that they don't want to spook her too much. Right now, if she gets off the freeway, they can safely follow from a distance and eventually execute a felony stop if they can get units into position here. But she has now exited the freeway at Lower Azusa Road, just off of the 605. The sheriff, or the CHP helicopter now providing the light from above. One unit right behind her. They will almost certainly call for backup before they light her up again. But right now, it does look like the driving is slowing down ever so slightly here. The composure is a little bit better behaved. You can see she's not really attempting some of those wackier moves that she was earlier on, where she was just weaving across all lanes and just driving very erratically. Now it looks like she's just a little bit more under control here. So we'll see how close that primary unit gets. He's about maybe a couple hundred feet back, I would say. Still continuing. That was a red light, I think, that she just ran, if I'm not mistaken. We might have to re-rack that. It looked like a red light that she ran. That CHP unit made it as well. He actually ran it, I think, unless it had just turned green. I'm really not sure, but it looked like it was red by my eye. And now it looks like maybe she's attempting to get off of Lower Azusa Road in that turn lane. No, she's just using going the wrong way on Lower Azusa Road. So she's just going around this traffic using that median, going the opposite direction over the double yellow lines, where there is now a little bit of traffic ahead of her on Lower Azusa Road. Once again, you see her pushing the pedal to the metal on the oncoming lanes of traffic. That is certainly going to attract the attention of CHP as they try and get more units in position. Yeah, we can't really tell. I mean, it does look like it's not necessarily a work truck. There is some stuff in the back. I saw a spare wheel and maybe some other tools, maybe a cooler as well. So it was hard to tell, but there are several items in the back there that she's hauling off of Peck Road, now onto surface streets here, again off of Peck, now coming up on Peck Road off of Mulhall. So she did a little circle there. CHP lighting her up now, and I expect that they'll pull up much closer on her, close up behind her, because now that she's really ramped things up, especially once she went into those oncoming lanes of traffic, it really it makes it all the more urgent for them to get her off the road. So I think that's going to really change the tactic of that primary officer, probably just waiting for more backup before they pull up closer. Closer behind her, I should say, Colleen, here on Peck Road. She is now in rush hour traffic along Peck Road, and now you see that primary unit only a few car lengths behind, lights and sirens blaring, night sun overhead, CHP now desperate to get her off the road. Another red light, through the red. Light just turned green. Now that 2 CHP units will go through that intersection with her. And now with 2 units behind her, we may see an attempt at a pit, or if they give the go-ahead, or something else. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. But certainly the pit maneuver is an option if there is a wide open enough stretch of Peck Road. We're not seeing that just yet. You see a lot of traffic ahead of her, but if there's an open stretch and they give the go-ahead at one of these empty intersections, certainly that is an option that they will employ here. You see that primary unit now joined with company here, back up, joining the pursuit, and here's a third unit, potentially CHP as well, about to execute a felony stop. At least I think they will try and pull up much closer behind her here. We'll see what happens here in the next few seconds. Getting back on the freeway. It's a transition road back onto the freeway now. It's going to put her on the 10 freeway. So 2 black and whites following her onto the 10 freeway off of Peck Road, now onto the westbound side of the 10 freeway. Now, obviously, we know the 10 freeway is shut down much further west of here, but we've got about 10 to 15 miles before that comes into play. So we'll see what traffic does here. The eastbound traffic is much heavier on the 10 freeway, but quite frankly, Colleen, once we get closer to downtown, all bets are off because everything was bright red brake lights as we made our way out to the east here. So she'll start to see some slowdowns if she continues westbound on the 10 freeway, but of course, as her luck would have it, right now she's got plenty of pavement at her disposal. Yeah, she's pushing it now, upwards of 80 miles per hour with really nobody in her way here. She's got those carpool lanes to herself now, and she's using them to full advantage. She could go faster, but she's already doing about 80, and now we're going to see some more aggressive tactics by that primary unit. Not too aggressive because there are still lots of other motorists around her, but we are going to see some more pressure applied here, I think, by CHP. So at night sun has gone away temporarily. I'm not sure if they're still there, just trying to keep it on her. You know, it's so, by the way, I got to tell you, Colleen, keeping that night sun on the suspect vehicle is much easier, or is much harder, I should say, than it looks on television. Controlling that night sun is really a skill, and it does take a certain amount of talent to keep that light on a fast-moving truck like this. So you'll occasionally see her dip into the darkness here, but right now they do have the night sun on her. It's providing tremendous assistance to those primary units, but it's also letting the other drivers around her know that something is going on. There is something that they need to be on the lookout for, maybe start bearing to the right as they see those sirens coming up from behind, and certainly they know that something is going on. Of course, in typical LA fashion, it is, of course, a high-speed pursuit. That's right. Yeah, it's a somewhat, I think, a newer model vehicle. It's been through a little wear and tear, but you see she is accelerating here. You know, it always depends, too. If it's a stolen vehicle, the details of that theft matter because it always, of course, depends on how much fuel was in the tank when it was stolen, but it also depends on when it was stolen. Has she been driving the stolen vehicle around town for the past few days, for a week? Has it been stolen for a while? Or did that theft just happen this afternoon? We just don't know the answer to those questions. Presumably, law enforcement may have more details than we do. Certainly, it's simple enough to run the plates and find out who the proper owner of the vehicle is and what the situation is. But in any event, you now see two primary units, a primary unit and a secondary unit, I should say, as well as California Highway Patrol's helicopter pursuing from above there. So a very, very precarious situation around all of this other traffic here on the 10 freeway. And again, it's worth reiterating, the further west we go, she will eventually run into a detour, which we are well aware of. Yeah, and it also makes you wonder, you know, this all started in East LA. This has turned into basically a joyride, Colleen, to take it all the way out into, you know, out to the 605 and play those games in El Monte, trying to, you know, run from CHP up there on Peck Road, and only to get back on the 10 freeway of all freeways to head back towards downtown. It just tells you that there is no real clear destination in mind here. My money says that she is enjoying her last few miles of freedom here until that truck does indeed run out of gas and she starts to look for an opportunity to either give herself up peacefully or try and dump the vehicle some other way. It certainly is evident that she may look for an opportunity to run, considering that she came to a very long, pregnant pause under that freeway earlier. You got the impression that she was thinking about maybe getting out, dumping the vehicle. I was looking for her to come out on foot on the other side of that overpass, but she just crept along and managed to stay in the vehicle and continued the pursuit. And so, you know, we'll see what's going through her mind. You never know what's going through somebody's mind in a case like this. Are they under the influence? Are there other factors at play here? How desperate is the individual? And of course, the big question is, if there are any other crimes associated, is this person armed, or is it only the truck that those officers are concerned with? They treat all these suspects as if they're possibly armed, of course, but do they have any intel telling them otherwise? Do they know if there were other weapons used in a previous crime? Was this a carjacking? Again, questions we just don't know the answer to yet. Right. Exactly. Exactly. It's one of those two, presumably. She does not want to give herself up here. Now we have a third unit joining the pursuit. That's going to give them more options. But you're right. It really is one of those two things. Most likely, either there's another crime here that she's running from, or potentially in a not so great state of mind, and that could be why she's refusing to pull over here. If she's experienced at this, she may know, if she, in other words, if she's a career criminal, for example, I'm not saying she is, but if she is, then, she knows the drill. She knows what's awaiting her, which could be a night in jail, but then again, it might not even be a night in jail. It may be a few hours in jail, and she could be right back on the street, so she doesn't see the need to pull over right away. She's calculating her risk, and she thinks maybe it's worth taking her chances. Maybe she can get away and avoid the arrest altogether. Already, worth reiterating, LAPD was willing enough to let this go. She tested their patience. Now she's back in their jurisdiction. So she's taken the 10 freeway back into LAPD's jurisdiction where this began. If she gets off the freeway, LAPD will be involved, and they probably won't be as gentle this time around. They won't be as willing to let her go. But right now, we should say California Highway Patrol, the primary agency here, and now we start to see that heavy traffic here on the 10 freeway coming to a stop here, or not a stop, but coming to a crawl as bumper-to-bumper traffic as she navigates the East LA interchange. Getting off. We don't know. But look at that. She really just picked up speed there. Get off the freeway now on Mission Road at a high rate of speed. Throw up the real-time speed tracker. We see her at 50 miles per hour. She was going much faster a second ago as she tried to outrun that cop at the intersection. Again, CHP, the primary agency here. To answer your question, Colleen, we don't know who else is in the vehicle, but I sense a lot more aggression just in the last few seconds that she got off the freeway. She felt the pressure from all of that traffic. The 10 freeway was at a standstill if she stayed on it. A spike strip was not an option. A pit maneuver was not an option. And so now California Highway Patrol finds themselves back on surface streets as she navigates the LA River here. She's over the river at First Street, the First Street Bridge, heading into downtown LA. Using that shoulder. Yep. Look at this. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's scary because you hear the sirens and you instinctively want to pull over to the right, but she's passing to your right, and so it just increases the risk for more collisions here. Now she's back to their left. They hear the sirens. They're pulling over to the right. You've got 3 units right behind her here, and she is in another major intersection coming up here at First Street and Hewitt Street. That's going to be another red light that she just blew through. Those 3 units going through the red with her, lights and sirens on, pedestrians crossing the street as she makes a wild left southbound turn onto Central Avenue, now in downtown LA, where the streets are much narrower, the buildings are much taller, and the pedestrian traffic is much heavier. We will see if they continue this pursuit. If the speeds continue at this rate, they may let the helicopter do the work here, but right now she is really pushing it down a pretty empty Central Avenue, but you never know when somebody's crossing the street through this part of town. We're just entering Skid Row. Right, so that would be surveillance mode, and that is another possibility. That is an option at their disposal if they just want to not spook the person and take some of the pressure off, but continue to keep an eye on her. Many of these helicopters are equipped with infrared technology, so even though they don't have the night sun on her for our advantage, they still see a very clear image on their screens inside the cockpit of her movements. California Highway Patrol does have that technology at their disposal. Right now, those 3 pursuing officers still able to keep a solid visual. Rob, help me out really quick. Are their lights still on, or did they turn them off? I think they're off. So now they're following. They backed way off. They're still following, but from a distance. Going the wrong way. Ooh, threading the needle here on Central Avenue, Colleen. This is scary. A lot of rush hour traffic here on a busy Central Avenue. Another intersection finally coming to a stop for the first time. She's behind another patrol car. Look at that. He doesn't even know. That's an LAPD officer. He doesn't even know. He's not even aware, I don't think. Well, here, look, passenger door, front and rear door popping open. A passenger stepping out of the vehicle, the driver coming out the other side. We're at Central Avenue and Olympic Boulevard. They have lots of backpacks, a dog, another dog involved in this pursuit, and now CHP is probably, look at this, they're running through traffic with the dog. They're running through traffic with those belongings, dumping the vehicle in the middle of Central Avenue, now running for it along Olympic Boulevard at Central, continuing now down the sidewalk where we know for a fact law enforcement is close by. We have helicopters in the air. There are plenty of eyeballs on these two suspects. They will be taken down here. Passenger and driver together with the dog behind that truck. Here comes another black and white under the tree here with their guns drawn. No guns. Oh, here's the gun. Okay, weapons out, pointed directly at those suspects. And now we'll try and get a better vantage point underneath this tree. They're running. Running without the dog. Running without the dog, two officers in foot pursuit through traffic here on Olympic Boulevard, a very busy Olympic Boulevard, a city bus right there, and now she's being taken down to the ground. Look at this. The driver being taken out of the ground by two officers, and we still have to look out for that passenger and the dog as soon as we, okay, she's detained. Let's go ahead and just tilt up and see if we have Here they come, LAPD now pulling up next to her. They're going to approach, and she's going to drop the leash. Did she drop the? She did drop the leash for a second. This is delicate. Let's hope she cooperates. Either it's not the best practice. It's definitely something that requires some follow through. Even if as I said, even if it's just collecting a witness statement and some of these folks.